Yes, thank you very much, Joni, for introducing. So, MTP in Pharma. It already changed over, a paradigm change. And at the end of the presentation, I will ask you which pill you prefer. And by talking with the colleagues from the OPC UA Foundation, I realized 26 years ago, I started in Pharma and I saw Matrix. So this is how it all came together, or comes together today, because I was on a project in the States and had nothing to do over the weekend, went to the cinema. I didn't know about the Matrix. In 1999, I watched that movie without preempting. It was amazing. So,
Which pill did you take?
Pardon?
Which pill did you take?
The red one, certainly. Okay, so I want to share a case study with Merck, and this is the first MTP installation in commercial pharma. It's not a pilot, it's a real installation. And I will share the advantages and the challenges we were facing, and I'm allowed to share these slides. I presented those also on the GAMP conference last week in Mannheim. Then we look at efficient qualification and validation strategies and the success factors. And then we look at next steps. Okay, why is Merck going into modularization and pushing the MTP standard forward? It is time to market and cost, because cumbersome integration, qualification and validation efforts can be reduced, and we have a look how. We all know USB devices. Here we have this pointer, it works, you can connect the printer. When you connect the printer, the driver is loaded and your computer knows it's an A3 or A4 printer, and it is one-sided and double-sided. And this is how Merck started and said, well, we want this also in the manufacturing field. We would like to have modularized equipment in process development and manufacturing, and we would like to easily connect it to a control layer. This didn't exist in that simple way before MTP. They want to break the paradox. Flexibility and efficiency. You know how much effort it takes normally to integrate a package unit into a control system, detailing every individual signal and integrating it. And they set up a manufacturing platform, a technical backbone or a universal backbone, where you can plug in equipment according to your process development needs and then integrate it and orchestrate it. And the key requirement was in the process development that there is no automation engineer required anymore for the process development engineers, who are typically process background people, to orchestrate their processes. They set up about 100 modules already in process development and manufacturing, and these are pictures of real modules that exist in Darmstadt. And Sebastian, who is mentioned here, he's happy. If anybody has a question, you can Google him on LinkedIn. So everybody is welcome to watch modular manufacturing at Merck when you come by Darmstadt. So we have a process development ecosystem from vendor A, and we have a manufacturing area. You see the red boxes? These are cells where you can move the equipment that you have either developed or used for process development into the manufacturing area, and you have a pull from vendor B. And there is no cumbersome integration anymore if you do this MTP based. And this is why the symbol is here in the middle. So we have a development ecosystem and we have a manufacturing ecosystem. And we want to speed up tech transfer with qualified ecosystems. There we need to look at the backbone, and we have the equipment qualification topic and the automation, the computerized system validation topic to cover. And we have two ecosystems, and we have a set of pre-qualified modules you can easily move into any area where the modules themselves have their capabilities confirmed, stand alone, and then you can use those. These are the pre-qualified modules. So, and the biggest challenge was to integrate both ecosystems with one quality management system. And it took many months to align the equipment qualification and the validation people. And Sebastian asked me, okay, when we ship our modules to the States, do they need to negotiate that all over again? And I said, yes. And this was a trigger for the working group. Joni is also participating. ISPE GAMP working group, I show later on the results or what we are working on, to standardize the qualification and validation of modules in the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, and how do we arrive at an efficient qualification and validation strategy? So this, this is a bit of the basics. So who is familiar with this graph? Good, so that's important that I show it. This is how the inspectorates, the global regulator bodies, see a computerized or an automated system. And we need to confirm in pharma its fitness for intended use. This is a bold term, you need to specify it. And when we talk about data quality and so on, in pharma you must prove that the sensor has the right accuracy and has the right range. We do this. And you do this in the framework of validation plans and reports and do it risk defined. You define verification activities for the computer system hard and software, for the controlled function or process, equipment, motors, pipes, vessels. Is that the right material? Is that the right motor installed, the right sensor? And including operating procedures and people, because they operate the plant. This is a controlled function. And when we talk about computerized system validation, and we can call it also automated manufacturing equipment, that's a dynamic interaction between the controlling system and the controlled function and process. And this is very important to understand. And where is the next one? And then the GAMP, Good Automated Manufacturing Practice Guide, gives some recommendations. When you have an arrangement like a modular plant, for the automated manufacturing equipment, a separate computer validation should be avoided. How can that be achieved? Yeah, you have to do proper engineering and verify compliance and fitness for intended use. This also includes verification of all the data models, everything you model for this equipment. And please remember when you talk, and this is also in projects what I always try to align, computer system is not computerized system. This is often when there's IT/OT discussion going on to make this difference clear. There is a computer and a controlled function and process. And when we talk about the whole arrangement, it's a computerized system. Okay. Which elements make up a modular plant according to the MTP standard? We have a modular plant environment. We have to draw a system boundary. And then we have the OT-IT integration, system infrastructure. And we have, you've seen on the manufacturing backbone, the physical infrastructure for energy, instrument, air, gas, but also the discharge. And the MTP standard defines a modular plant with a process orchestration layer. This is a control system layer that needs to be capable of importing MTP files. And we integrate this with the OT and IT world. At this point in time in the projects, you don't need to know anything about the manufacturing process. You just integrate the platform, that you have a manufacturing platform, and we come later to it. These are key decisions in the engineering phase. What do you want to build? A platform. Then you want to qualify this platform and its integration in the OT-IT world on its own. And the physical and functional integration with the modular plant. Then you add the automated manufacturing equipment, and I'm thankful to Lauritz from Beckhoff, who provided me these nice images of package units, automated package units. And you see the interface here, you see the controller here. We call them PEA, Process Equipment Assemblies, in MTP talk. And they are automated manufacturing equipment with a PLC, an edge device, edge computer for automation with IOs. And then we need to physically integrate those. This is a qualification part of it. One pair with each other. And then we need to functionally integrate it. And this is now simplified with the MTP file, according to the MTP standard. This is an XML file you can import. At that point in time, the POL knows, okay, there is a pair. And that pair has certain capabilities. Which ones these are, we look at later. But they do not interact yet with each other. Now the orchestration starts. You have to do the orchestration, engineering and manufacturing process orchestration based on predefined pair services and procedures, service-oriented architecture in the automation world. And you define those. Yes. And you orchestrate. Now you have mapped based on the services your manufacturing process as you need it with the recipe designer S88 conformant recipe design. But what's in an MTP file? That is now important to see. The MTP file contains a manifest, the passport of the pair, in a standardized and machine-readable way. 11 minutes, okay. We speed up a bit. So we have the HMI. This is very important. The HMI elements, active, passive elements, pipes, indicators are defined, vendor agnostic. And depending on which DCS you import this or pull, according to the library, it is pulling the library objects of this DCS system. And that's a very important aspect, to be vendor neutral and to connect any pair to any pull. Then we have the services procedures, report values, control parameters and report values for recipes and reports. And you can review this MTP file in the engineering process early, long before you get the package unit or the pair on site. Alarms and events. And the standardization is ongoing. In December, MTP 2.0 shall come out. Not yet defined is a pair safety and security information, but I learned yesterday there is OPC UA. Also, we will hear later, or yeah, after you. After me, you hear something to this safety and security stuff. That is very important to be integrated. So every 2 years, the MTP standard shall be updated. So, and then the pair diagnostic maintenance information. And I just added this morning another box, normalizing of data, Frank has mentioned. Well, here with designing or defining a requirements MTP file early in the engineering process, you already define all these elements. And then the pair vendors can either manufacture custom-built pairs or they provide this requirements MTP file. You can already orchestrate your plant. And this is the basis for engineering, computerized system validation and equipment qualification. Okay, we have seen the functional and physical integration. Now we look a bit more in detail to the functional integration. The MTP standard allows an unheard level of standardization. And I'm now 26 years in pharma. There's a lot of opinion, how to qualify, how to specify, how to detail. And most of the effort goes into these discussions, how to. Here we have a model for the process technology, the process we will automate, and the automation. And we have two standards. One is the 2658, which will be soon an IEC standard for the MTP interface definition. But same importance has the VDI 2776 for the process engineering of the plants. So the engineering of the plant and the automation that needs to be integrated. So process engineering, equipment engineering, of the pair process equipment assembly, which is compiled of functional equipment assemblies, which are consisting of components, and the automation engineering. All three together are defined, and the results are defined in the MTP file. And we relate the computerized system validation, including manufacturing equipment qualification, to these artifacts. And this is, for me, working in the pharmaceutical industry, a way to standardize the qualification validation approach from company dependent into a standardized approach. And here also normalizing of data starts in engineering, where we define all the processes, the parameters, and the services. Physical integration is also covered. You've seen the 2776. We have the modular plant structure, modular plant, process equipment assembly, functional equipment assembly, components, based on the 2776. And then the document structure, modular plant documentation, PA documentation, FEA, and component documentation. That is important for qualification of the equipment. Allows to standardize in GXP environments, computerized system validation, control system, with the controlling system, automated manufacturing equipment. Good. What are the successful factors? What did we learn in the Merck project? And in following projects, I could help clients to put the modular MTP-based modular automation into workings. Standardize and streamline good engineering practices based on quality by design, defining capabilities. Yes, thank you. This helps if you choose standardized modules, the effort by -70%. Increase operability, flexibility, and decrease time to market. This was the objective of Merck by -50 and increase flexibility by 80 by reusing. Circular economy, not purpose-built plants, you can reuse the modules. Design, and these are decisions you need to take early in the project. Bluefield modular manufacturing platforms. As I introduced, we have the platform first that doesn't know any manufacturing process. And specify an operations philosophy that enables smart automation architecture and smart modules procured, pre-qualified. And what a smart automation architecture could be, I show some examples. And that helps to reduce on-site activities by up to 60%. Initially and reoccurring when you rearrange the modules. It is not just building the plant, you usually rearrange it for different campaigns of product. Okay, how can that look like? So this is a typical architecture. We have a pole here, we have a washing machine here, we have a dirty side, a clean side, and you have to tell the equipment vendor, we don't want your HMI. This starts a lot of discussions, and I'm keen to discuss today. There is a sterilizer manufacturer here as well, so in the break I would like to talk with what do you think about no HMI. But we have the HMI as defined in the MTP standard, driven via the pole. And this is a key table in workshops when I work with the clients, which functionality is where. And if we can minimize the functionality on pair level, and all the electronic record, electronic signature, audit trail stuff is very cumbersome and detailed and to be clarified with every vendor. If you say, well, we don't want this here, we only want it on pole level, then you can reduce a lot of effort in the equipment automation. You concentrate and focus on the manufacturing process and the functionality to automate. And this now step by step how you can approach for a whole plant. You define, you want a smart operations philosophy. You say operation, maintenance, calibration of modules is via the process orchestration layer only. You go to your equipment vendors, tell them I want a PLC, OPC server with MTP standard based automation. I don't want a pair HMI connected to the PLC. I want it driven via the POL HMI. I get this order, this pre-qualified, and then I can use any POL to do the FAT or on-site to integrate my equipment. And then once, not multiple times, I integrate, have my recipe design, historian, trend, alarm management, user management, audit trail, batch report, e-signature. I validate once on POL level and not multiple times individual for each piece of equipment. Then I connect the HMIs. So I'm focusing on the POL, on HMI, user management, audit trail, alarm management, reporting. And this allows pair vendors to focus on the verification of the automation functionality. I have to speed up. And the benefits is you can cut requirement specification by up to 50%. And that's proven in projects because all the cumbersome details, electronic records, signature stuff moves up to the POL, you eliminate on pair level. And this is data integrity compliance risks are minimized. Next steps. ISPE working groups. How do we standardize this approach within the pharmaceutical world? There is a GAMP D-A-CH initiated originally from that Merck project, from the discussion with Sebastian. I raised my hand and said, well, there's a topic we need to clarify. So if you're interested to join, you're welcome. Merck, Lonza, Bayer, and many more companies are participating. And we have the Pharma 4.0. At the moment, there's in Barcelona the Pharma 4.0 conference, the MTP for ISPE. They concentrate on the technical side. We concentrate on the qualification and validation side. And together, we create a common good practice guide, provide a clear and practical guidance how to implement MTP-based automation for green and brownfield, and brownfield is challenging. Target audience: engineering, process equipment, automation teams, and pharmaceutical companies. Equipment manufacturers are also participating, that we standardize it. Hardware and software technology providers. And that's typically my area, quality assurance people, convincing that we are not leaving out things, we are doing them differently and still in compliance. And this is a slide I inserted yesterday. So this is the semantic PR data sheet. If we have this, we can also automate the qualification validation activities. And that's a game changer, a paradigm change away from opinions based on data, based on fact, doing qualification activities. Modular plants are a reality in the pharmaceutical industry. On the 14th of October, Lonza presented in Basel the impact of MTP-based automation on their CapEx, capital expenditure projects. So, call to action, check on your clients' projects or your projects whether you can implement the MTP standard, whether it makes sense. Yeah, and now I ask you, which pill would you like to choose here to carry on? Yeah, that was change the matrix.